All right, I got my morning exercises done, and today I'm hanging out with my two little kids, which makes it the perfect time to talk about love. And while I'm talking about kids, man, too many kids are raised on hatred. It's no good. And I'm speaking from experience a little bit here. So any parents out there, try to raise your kids with love. And not that love where it's like, well, I feel obligated to love my children, so of course I love them, sort of. No, I mean really love them. And that might mean you have to raise them yourself instead of sending them off to some daycare and schools all the time where they come back at the end of the day total strangers, you don't know anything about them, you don't even really like them, but you love them because you're obligated, because you're their parent. No, I mean really love your kids. Get involved with them, raise them yourselves, help them become people that you can love. Don't let them turn into people that you can hate. All right. Speaking of relationships, so this one time I had this girlfriend and I was doing a lot of manual labor for her. I told her, no, save your money, don't hire people to do that. I'll just move all this stuff for you. Don't worry about it. It'll take a couple weeks, but whatever. You got me, save your money for the future. So I was doing all this stuff. And at some point I said to her, I got this knot in my back. Do you think you can rub it out? And I know she knows how to do this because she's done it before. And she looked at me and said, after I've been doing all this hard work for her and I'd just done it all day that day, she looked at me and said, I don't really feel like it. And I instantly regretted asking her because I was not feeling the love. And my energy level just went, and my back got more tight, and it was like I was in twice as bad shape as I was before I even asked. And it was just like, just the anti-love just took the wind out of the room, took the wind out of my sails. On the other hand, having a positive loving relationship has the opposite effects. It has huge positive consequences. Now, I can't talk about this with as much experience as a lot of other people out there who are in long-term loving relationships, which I have found elusive to this point, but I have had some little niblets of love, little tastes of love in my life. Now, when I was in high school, this is when I started becoming a real person, when I was a teenager. In high school, I was doing all these sports. And the sport I really liked was track and field because I always got this unbiased feedback. I would know down to 100th of a second if I did better this week than the week before. So it gave me a very concrete way to tell how I'm doing. And the first time I got a serious girlfriend where I was feeling the love, there was a significant increase in my performance from that point on until it was over. And I couldn't attribute this to anything else. Nothing else had changed. And here's how I think this works. It's not just some floofy magical thing. I think there's actually some very simple science to it. So throughout the day, you make 10,000 tiny decisions, more. You just thousands and thousands of tiny decisions. Right now, I'm making piles of decisions with every word I'm picking, every sentence I put together, every inflection of how I say the words. I'm making all these little decisions, and we're all doing that all day. We're making all these little decisions. Am I going to do that? Am I going to procrastinate? Blah, 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 just constantly, right? Well, when you're feeling kind of down and not loved, you'll end up giving yourself a bias to have more negative decisions. But when you're feeling real positive, you're feeling love, you'll have a bias to make more positive decisions, right? And maybe on your own, you have a certain percentage of positive and negatives, and maybe overall at the end of the day, like for me, if I'm just on my own by myself, I have a net positive, I'm pretty sure. I'm kind of slowly going up during the day. But when I'm feeling that love, I'll take some of those negatives and they'll just be biased toward more positives, and I'll end up at the end of the day with a little more progress than I would otherwise have. And then over the days and weeks and months, I get more and more progress. So for in the example of track and field, Once I had a significant girlfriend and I was feeling the love, my coach would say, "All right, Jamie, are you ready for the next one?" And before I was feeling the love, I'd be like, all right, let me get up to the line. Okay, I'm ready, let's go. But after I was feeling the love and I was feeling this positiveness and I was having more positive, active, proactive decisions going on in my head, my coach would say, "All right, are you ready for the next one?" I'd be like, "I'm already on the line, let's go." Although I would actually say something else. I would always say, "Are you kidding? Of course I'm not ready. I'm about to pass out, but let's go anyway." But I would be ready to go. And, obviously the track and field thing is just a metaphor for life. Anything you do in life is benefited by having this positive love in your life. And it doesn't just come from another person, from relationships. Like, you got to love yourself and you got to love what you're doing. Because every piece of love you can add into your life will give you more of a bias for more positive little decisions in your life. And, a perfect example is where I am right now. I've got tons of work to do. I have all this stuff, even right now doing this video, a part of my brain is thinking, oh, I could be outside digging or on the roof putting the things on, or, there's all this stuff I have to do. And my house is cluttered up with a pile of sand over there and a bunch of bags of cement and like styrofoam and all these building materials, and over there's just a mess of a construction zone, and I've got stuff stored that's going to go upstairs when the upstairs is done, but it's not done. There's all this stuff I don't have, but it doesn't matter because I love where I am and I love what I'm doing. So I wake up at 5 a.m. and I look and I'm like, the sun's not up yet. All right, I just got to sleep a little more. Hopefully the sun will be up soon so I can do stuff because I love what I'm doing. And ever since I started doing these YouTube videos, I've been contacted by a lot of people who want to move off grid or want to do some kind of dream, and often they're asking me, what kind of tips I can give them and stuff. And you know what? The most valuable advice I think I can give a person is that if you really, really, really love what you're doing, you're going to have a way higher success rate than if you don't really love it. So if you pick a dream just out of a hat that someone else wanted, or maybe you felt like it should be a thing, but you don't really care about it, you're going to run into obstacles and they're going to knock you back. But if you're doing something you really, really love, you're going to come up to obstacles and you're just going to say, this is part of the experience. And someone's going to say, doesn't that discourage you? And you'd be like, what are you talking about? I love this. And when you really love what you're doing, you get so into it and you can just go for it. You don't have to keep looking back and saying, well, maybe I should bail out on this. Maybe I should be doing something else. No, when you really love what you're doing, and people who've never had this experience, it's hard to really describe. But when you really love what you're doing, it's just like the reverse in your car is broken and you are just going full speed forward. And it's an amazing feeling. So, in conclusion, do what you love what you do, love your people, and let them love you.